Hello, friends and colleagues. Welcome back to the Think Catalyst podcast. Happy to be with you this week and happy to have had Vivek with us here in Mexico City for the week. How's it been, Vivek? How have you enjoyed Mexico?
I've enjoyed it a lot. It's been intense and it's been hot in the afternoons. And it's been so long since I've been hot that I've been in warm weather that I've enjoyed it. So it's been good.
How's the food?
Overeating as well. Too much food.
We've had a very productive week.
We
It was a
did.
lot of fun, but it was very productive. We saw some very interesting people, met some very interesting people, and have a number of projects that we're following. So it's really terrific, and it was great to have you here. I know you're going back tomorrow, but come back again soon. People like you.
Will do. Every time I can.
So we have an interesting podcast for you this week, and thank you for joining us. As outsiders now, we've had the benefit of seeing things a little bit differently and appreciating certain things. And we thought we'd bring together something that I think is interesting to everyone. And if we were to be in the business again, or go back, what would Vivek and I do differently? Vivek has been a client and he's also been an agency guy. I've been an agency guy for all of my career, but you always learn something new. And then even now, as after many, many years, we're learning something new. And Vivek and I thought we'd put together a list of things that we would do differently if we were back in the agency world. So food for thought, and I think productive and I think nourishing for the business and the pros and the people who really love this business very much. So I don't know, Vivek, you want to comment on that?
Everyone always wants a do-over. So here's our little do-over, 5 things that we would do differently. And as usual, I think we're gonna say some controversial things and we're gonna challenge orthodoxy, but that's what we do. So let's do it.
Right. Look, anyone who's in this business and in any business really should really focus on doing the best quality work, and whatever you do and under whatever circumstances that you have to do it, focus on doing the best work possible, whether it's a media product or a creative idea or a strategy as it relates to advertising or a digital platform. Focus on doing the best work and know that work will also determine your reputation, who you are in the market, and how you are going to be seen and valued. Vivek?
Yeah, it will determine your reputation, and that's a sword that cuts 2 ways. So if the work is great, good for you. If it's mediocre, that's also your fault. And I think each project is different. Some of them are very difficult. There's difficult clients, there's circumstances, there's budget restrictions, there's a million things that can be used as justifications and excuses for work that's not great. But at the end of the day, when the work goes out, when it's on air, it's going to have your name on it. And in the future, if a prospect comes to knock on your door, they'll only come if the work is good. And no client or no prospect will ever say, well, it was mediocre, but I understand that, you didn't have enough time to do it. So yeah, that's all right. I'm good with the mediocre work. Never happened. It's got to be good.
Never settle for anything that doesn't feel right and is not good.
It'll always have your name on it. So do it as well as you possibly can. It's important.
Good. First and foremost, check. Number 1.
Number 1.
Next.
Let me go with number 2. That's one of my my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Have a major focus on storytelling in new business. And don't ever go through the motions. And don't ever assume that you can judge the quality of your storytelling. You are too involved in the process. You have relationships with the players, and it's very difficult for an agency person to then look at the work from the perspective of a client. So you want some outside perspective. You want someone else to grade your work. So how would we do that, Ricardo? What are some suggestions regarding getting that done?
So first and foremost, I say that in this business, we are salesmen, just like we are salesmen in many other businesses. We are selling our ideas, our thinking, what it takes for a client to push the business forward, to grow it, to think differently. So as salesmen, we have to find the best way, the most persuasive way, the most articulate way to present our ideas and make them powerful. And it's funny because the same product, the same idea presented differently will have a different effect, a different result in terms of whether the client will buy it or is interested or not. You need to work on this. Ideally, you want to talk to someone who knows the business very well, maybe a consultant, someone who will give you straight objective feedback, okay? Who will tell you, focus on this, don't think of that, remove this. Your body language is just as important as what you say, how you say it. And that will give you some feedback that you could use to improve, make better your delivery. And do it by practicing a lot. Practice makes perfect. Rehearsals are important. Make sure that the people who are involved in your presentation, if the storytelling has multiple personalities, come in at the right time and deliver in the right moments. Having those pauses is important. Bridging from one thought to another is important. Emphasis on your key point of differentiation, absolutely important in the total process.
And the outside expert who's going to judge your work, make sure he's going to tell you the truth. In fact, it's 10 times better for him to be an absolute asshole and tell you things exactly as they are than to be nice and sugarcoat stuff and let you get away with mistakes just because he doesn't enjoy the confrontation, or he doesn't want to hurt someone's feelings. He's not doing you a favor if he's doing that. So
put yourself in the shoes of your audience and don't take for granted that because you've done credentials many times, or you know your work, that you are going to do it right. We have been surprised, Vivek and I, to see how poor credential presentations are and are not prepared, and where the focus is not necessarily on the right delivery. And they just sort of go by like a ship in the middle of the night.
a sea of mediocrity.
A sea of mediocrity, absolutely. So
You know,
focus on that. Spend some time on that. It's actually a most valuable skill.
now that you mention it, I want to say this. This is a real passion point for me. Don't have agency people pretending to understand the client point of view, because the vast majority of them don't, or they operate on stereotypes about how they think clients operate. So your outside expert needs to really, preferably, if he can come from the client side, so much better, or if he's had experience on the client side, so much the better. But don't be an agency person who is pretending to be a client, because it doesn't work. Yeah, you have to understand the mindset. You have to understand what they're really looking for, and within that filter, look at the presentation and critique it.
Great point. Undervalued in many ways, but great point. Focus on delivering the best storytelling that you can. And that's practice and invest in that. You'd need to invest in that. Point number 3, close to my heart, because this is where I came up from in terms of my development, but agencies should invest in having the strongest, most senior account people on their different client businesses. And this is for a number of reasons. Having great people managing your clients, understanding what your clients really are needing, managing the different situations, sometimes the difficult ones, understanding when there is smoke on the horizon and there's an issue, or how to best position the product that you're going to deliver, and having and coalescing the team to doing that. Taking the right brief, really understanding what the brief is. And someone who can also get you out of trouble when you do get into trouble, because they understand the nuances there. Nothing like having great account people on your business and really managing the client well. I think you have a few more things to add there, Vivek.
They can avoid problems. They can erase problems. Um, and in a world where budgets, where agencies don't have a lot of money and they have to basically cut somewhere, the worst possible place, in my opinion, that you can cut is account management. Because also remember that for any client, the agency brand name is just a name. The agency is represented by the people who sit in front of him on a day-to-day basis. So you can be the most respected agency in the world, but if my contact with you is some junior person who really is not ready for the job, my perception of your agency brand is going to be colored by the junior person, right? So remember that the account management person is the embodiment of the agency. You never want that impression to be, you know what, these are just order takers. And I always say this, I keep on saying this because it rings in my ear. I've had many clients tell me, Vivek, I want to talk with you. I don't want to talk with the kids. And it hurts my heart whenever I heard that, but it's true. They're not paying for the kids. They're paying for the senior people. So have the senior people available.
Go back to our previous podcast, number 21, where we talk about talent and where we talk about an agency is as good as the people in it, the quality of the people. So food for thought, but have the best people in front of the client. You'll get better management and a better output from the team.
Pay a little bit more, get more
Sure.
senior people, get more experience. It's going to pay off.
This next point, Vivek, boy, how much have we seen this not happen in agencies? Why don't you talk about this? Because we tend to focus on investing on new business, but
we don't worry about retaining existing business. We just assume that there's going to be churn. And again, we've talked about this before, but we have a theory that there is a line item in every agency budget and some money put aside for new business, which is interpreted as business that's coming in from the outside. But there is not a line item in the budget that is some money put aside to retain existing clients. And because budgets drive everything, and if you have a budget available, you can actually do things with that money. We think it's really important to actually set aside a line item on your P&L, which is labeled money funds to retain existing clients / avoid ever having these clients take you to a pitch. Um, it's insurance. It's when an existing client takes you to a pitch, your chances of retaining the business are never high. We actually spoke with someone this week who had a number, and he said that your chances of retaining a piece of business are 16%. I don't know where he got that number, but he said it with authority, so I'm going to believe him. But it's low. So
It's a
you
low
know what?
number.
Don't ever be in that situation. Spend a little bit more money up front and make sure you never ever get in a situation of having to defend a piece of business that's leaving.
How I would have done that differently, and I've made that mistake. Your best customer is the current customer that you have and the one that comes back. That's your best new business. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. Nothing like having a very satisfied customer who not only will come back, but they'll also be the one who will indicate you to other advertisers when they're asked.
Word
So,
of mouth. And
hello,
oh, by the way, the P word that never is mentioned in the advertising industry, but these happy clients tend to be more profitable.
sure.
So it's an important thing.
No profit, no fun. That's what we used to say in our business meetings, in our business presentations.
Well, you could also use that phrase to describe large parts of the industry right now. No profit, no fun.
There's no fun.
There's no fun. Yeah.
Right. We'll go to the last point, and this is something that's very close to what Vivek and I are doing a lot too, because especially when you win a client, you want to make sure you want to get off to the right start and a good start. And often enough, unfortunately, a certain number of things aren't really established or discussed or talked about at the beginning of the relationship. And so we have a program that we believe in, and we call it Rules of Engagement, which is all about setting up your relationship to succeed. And that is done by discussing a number of things with your client upfront in terms of what your expectations are of the work, of how the team is supposed to interact, what to do in certain other situations. Vivek, you want to talk about this? Because this is
Well,
one of your favorite workshops as well, too.
I love this workshop. I don't want to make it completely self-serving here. I think that the issue, what we're trying to bring across, we can certainly help you do it, but the important thing is you want to make sure that the machinery is running smoothly from day one, and that both sides know exactly what is expected of them. And if you do that, the work will be better, the process will be smoother, and again, the P word, the account will be more profitable. And if all of that happens, there's a very small possibility that that account will be leaving the agency. So you're also retaining business, which again follows on from the previous point we talked about. So don't assume that the team is going to work smoothly just by osmosis, because it doesn't happen.
Right.
Sit down with your client, set up the rules, and everything will run smoother. The work will be better. You'll have more fun. You'll make more money. It's that simple.
Teams will be more engaged too, and you won't have you won't have this lethargic response of people saying, "Oh God, I have to go and deal with whatever a difficult client or whatever." When you discuss these things up front, when you set up your expectations up front and discuss how you want to work together, it's a lot easier. It's a lot smoother. That's another insurance policy right there as well.
And there's one more thing I want to comment on, and these rules of engagement workshops are great bonding experiences. And there's nothing better than if you can, have a beer with a client after a workshop and laugh about something that happened in the workshop, and maybe give the team a name, a memorable name. Bonding, team building happens naturally in these workshops, and it's invaluable. I always say you want to move from a us versus them situation to a we situation. And these workshops will help two teams, the client and the agency, become one team working to common goals. That makes a big difference.
So let's do a quick summary of the 5 points that we talked about right now. Number one, whatever you do it great. Focus on quality. Make sure you have absolutely the best output possible in terms of what you do, whether it's a media product or a creative product or a strategic presentation. Just absolutely make sure it is absolutely the best, no matter what situation you're in. Focus on that, because that is going to also determine your reputation, who you are in the market, and how outsiders will see you. Number two, focus on storytelling and doing it right in terms of new business, but also in selling a campaign or a new strategy or whatever it is that you're selling. But storytelling is critical in terms of making sure that what you are producing is successful when you sell it to the client.
Let me interrupt you here for a second and add something. In our world, storytelling equals selling. So beware of bringing in actors to teach you to act, because they're great actors, but acting is not what we do. Storytelling equals selling. We need to sell. So just 1 point.
Great, absolutely. Third point, make sure you have the best, most senior account management people in front of the client to help you manage the client, to help understand what they really need, to help guide also the process internally so that it flows properly. The right work is done from the very beginning, and the best work is done from the very beginning. Number four, spend some money, put aside money in your budget to retain your existing clients. Those are your best clients. That's your best new business. A happy client is one that comes back and will continue to buy your services, buy your product, and one that will help you also grow. It'll also help you eventually develop a stronger reputation in the market as well. It's amazing that Vivek and I have found that while agencies put a significant amount of money aside in their budgets for new business or for creative awards and other events, they don't put almost any money aside to retain and focus on their existing clients and businesses. So think about that when you do your next agency budget. And finally, point number 5, take time at the beginning of your relationship to set yourself up for success. Have the proper conversation with your clients about how you want to work, what vision you want to establish, both of you, in terms of the product that you want to develop, how you want to manage conflicts, how you want your teams to interact. It's a good investment to set that up beyond just getting a briefing on a fuller briefing on what the business is and so forth. But think about the things that you're going to be doing together and how that is supposed to flow within the week or the month, and what you expect to do, short, mid, long-term goals. There's a number of ways of doing it, and it's a terrific investment in terms of setting yourself up for success. Vivek, any other thoughts to these 5 points or the last one?
Just to tie the two last ones together. If you take a little bit of your new business money and you invest it on your existing clients doing rules of engagement type exercises, you may find that not only will you retain those clients, but those clients will give you more assignments, because happy clients equal more assignments from clients. So you'll be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll actually be using your retained clients' funds to actually generate new business. So it's win-win. it's a no-brainer. It's well worth doing.
Well, 38 years after I started in this business, I'm still learning new things or relearning some old things. It's good to hash them out. There's never a day that you don't continue to learn and say, I wish I would have done that and I'll do it differently next time.
It would have been great to know these things
Yeah.
35 years ago, right? That's why they say that youth is wasted on the young. There we go.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe, like us, share us. We are Think Catalyst, Vivek Kuchibotla, and I'm Ricardo Ferraris. We enjoy doing these podcasts. It's fun to share some of our experiences and learnings. Thank you for your feedback. It's been terrific as well. Vivek, fantastic to have you here in Mexico City. And look forward to seeing you again soon. It's been a lot of fun. Got a lot of work in front of us. And see you in our next episode. Thank you.
Take care. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.